Good afternoon, this is Pat Walker, Mission Winners, doing an ETF overview. Why do we look at the ETFs? It's not because we like to look at a million different charts. No, we have a limited amount of time and we want to use it wisely. Here's a fact. The vast majority of a leading stock's move is related to the industry group that it's in. By looking at the ETFs, the industry group ETFs, it gives us a good idea of where there is strength and where there is weakness. And that helps us. So let's go in and just take a look at some of these. First off, we'll start with the spiders. The spiders closed up just a hair, okay? But they gapped up, they ran up, and they fell hard. It's a fairly ugly bar here, okay? And it's got lower lows. This is not the best pattern in the world at all, okay? Be careful with that. Selling in this. QQQ, gapped up, fell, closed at about its midpoint, some painting of the tape into the close on Friday. But you can see the trend is down. And here's the important point. It has lower lows. This low is higher than this low. What would we like to see? We'd like to see a higher low. That could potentially signal a reversal of a trend. I'll give you an example. Right here, this is a higher low. This low is higher than this low, and this low is higher than this low. And it led to an advance. These are the things that we look for. So I just got to share that with you. I've used that tactic for years. So let's move on here. Biotechnology, it's below the falling 50-day. But you know, I just showed you the indices that are pretty ragged. This is below the moving averages, but it's basing right here. Biotechnology, perhaps it'll lift. This is not the best setup. It is a higher low, but it's not the best setup. Here's a good maxim for everybody, and I said this for years at the IBD meetups. The air is better above the 50-day moving average line. There you go. I'm not saying don't buy, but things are better over the 50-day, especially the rising 50-day. So watch this and see what happens. Biotech doesn't look so bad. Okay, not great, but not that bad. Cloud computing, compare and contrast. This is rough down here, folks. You're not going to see this setup in any book saying, this is it, this is where you go big. No, be cautious with cloud computing. So what does this tell you? Be careful with cloud computing stocks. That's simple. Electric vehicles, you know, Tesla, NIO, etc., lagging, higher low. It's below the moving averages and it's steadily falling. It's dropping. That's all. Maybe it'll bottom sometime, but right now there's nothing great there. Dow Jones Internet actually hit a lower low here. So there's no power in this. Internet related. What's that say? Be careful with internet stocks. IBD 50. IBD 50 does have a higher low. All right? It's below all the moving averages. The trend is down. Perhaps it will lift here. We'll have to watch this and see. This is a decent proxy for the, you know, the IBD 50 stocks, some of the big leaders, the stalwarts in the market, the good ones. So something to potentially watch if it takes out Friday's highs. That's what we would like to see. All right? There we go. Something to watch. I'll put a price alert on it. And again, what's that say? Well, the IBD 50 is down, but it didn't fall as hard as some of the other indices. And we know what the IBD 50 is. Gold miners lifted up a little bit. It's kind of a defensive play. It has a higher low. It's lifting. But again, this is not a clean and simple breakout or a base right here. Be careful with these. All these are rough, okay? And I need to share this with you. Please don't think that, we're professionals. We have to be doing something every day. Yes. Do you know what we have to be doing every day? We have to be making good investing decisions. And sometimes a good investing decision is staying out. Okay? I'm not being bearish. I'm not being bullish. I'm just explaining what to do. There's times to sit tight and not do anything. All right? Control capital. Protect mental capital. Protect physical capital. And one day it'll take off and you'll be ready for it. GLD had a decent day on Friday. Look at that. See this? Kind of a defensive play, but it's hanging in there. I just showed you a bunch of things that look kind of ragged. And this is starting to lift a little bit. A little bit of power right there. Biotechnology. Lifted here a little bit. Biotech. I showed you one biotech, and here's another one. See how you connect the dots? Here you go. Look at this one. There's biotechnology, and here's biotechnology. What does that say? A lot of things are dropping hard. This one's basing down here. Now, it's still below the moving averages, so it's riskier for entry. How would we control risk if we did it? You buy less shares if you buy it, if it triggers. Here we go. Online retail has a higher low, but it's pretty rough down here, folks. Look at this. Just be cautious. I encourage you. Okay. North American technology has a higher low, picking up a little bit. Needs to trigger through here on volume. The trend is still down. So what do you do in a situation like this? Okay, I mean, this is a downtrend, folks. Here's the weekly. Here's the monthly. Here's the weekly. You see this? This is what's called a downtrend. Pretty good, huh? I didn't even need a calculator. I didn't even need a dictionary to know that. There you go. Be careful. Just be cautious here. Don't think like, oh gosh, we got to be doing things all the time. If you buy this, and again, it's a higher low setup, just go smaller. Control risk. Don't think you have to be doing things, as I said. Medicine, higher low. Have you noticed the theme that I've said several different times? More than a couple of times. There are some higher lows forming. That is a potential turning point in the market. Potential. I'm not saying we're going to lift, but if you start to see a couple of these taking out highs on volume, you've got a clue for adding or buying. Mid cap, almost higher low, but pretty tough here. Okay, be cautious with that. Home builders, there's nothing higher low, but there's nothing really great with it. You can see, folks, all of these. I read this 20 plus 30 years ago. They said, you want to know the direction of the market? And I think this is a great thing to do. Take this chart, print it out, put it on the wall, tape it to the wall, walk around the other side of the room and look at it and say to yourself, what's the trend? The trend is down. That's it. That's it. You don't have to overthink it. Small caps, higher low. Okay, starting to see the theme here, some higher lows. Airline stocks, higher low. Trend has been down. Okay, so a potential higher low. Regional banks, it's a lower low. Nothing really special there. Mid cap, higher low, not by much. Some wide range bars here. Be cautious. Moral here over and over, folks. Be cautious. Oil services, potential higher low. Okay, there we go. Oil, look at this. Here's oil services kind of are, shopping around. Look at oil. That's a decent base, folks. We talk about clean and simple bases. I'm not saying buy this, okay? That's not my point. There you go. I mean, so what's it need to do? It's simple. Don't overthink it. Clean and simple base that everybody can see. If it takes out that white line, that could be a potential buy. If the market's good and if there's volume. There you go. That's it. Simple. Simple is the best. Online retail has a higher low, but look at this downtrend. Is that wicked? Ooh, be careful. Lower low on PAVE, infrastructure. Look at that. Tells you what? Stay away. Stay away. Be careful. Pharmaceuticals, starting to pick up. Pharmaceuticals, drugs. What are drugs? And some people say, really good. No. What are drugs? Drugs are a defensive type of thing. There's a lot of things we don't have to have, but as far as, for health and things like this, medicine, all right, defensive. And this one's hanging in. Maybe it'll start to push across these tops right here. You see that? And I'll draw it for you just to help. Okay, try to explain these things and illustrate them in a way that conceptually makes sense. Possibly, and by the way, picked up on a slight pickup in volume. I just showed you a ton of ETFs that look awful. This one's kind of hanging in. There you go. Drugs. Cloud computing, higher low. It's okay. Silver, higher low. It's okay. I mean, steel, higher low. It's okay. I'm just pointing these out to you. I'm not trying to say, oh, buy all these. No, I'm just pointing out potential strength or potential weakness in the markets. That's all. Semiconductors, pretty big tail bar here. Gapped up and closed, but found support here, and it does have a higher low. The trend is down, though, okay? So you got to be careful with this, folks, all right? Don't argue with it. Don't argue with price. Solar doesn't have a higher low, but it is steadily lifting. Trend is still down here, okay? So you got to be cautious. In all instances, team, I will tell you this. Err to the side of caution, all right? Small cap, another small cap ETF, gapped up and actually closed down on a pickup in volume. There's some selling there. Uranium, higher low. Here's another oil-related one. It's hanging in here, isn't it? I just showed you several different oil-related, energy-related ETFs that don't look so bad. Isn't that neat? Connect the dots. Oh, maybe there's something with energy. Aerospace and defense. Yeah, that's pretty rough, folks. That's pretty rough. Stay away from it. Here's a good maxim for everybody. If you really want to try to see some strength, key on things that are closing near their highs of the day. Look at how strong this is on this bar. Look at that. And it follows through. Key on those and you'll do better. All right, that'll help you. Biotechnology, another biotech ETF, has a higher low setup. BBH did too. Home builders, yeah, but the trend, it has a lower low. The trend is down. What does that tell you instantly? There's power in this. Stay away from the home building stocks. Materials, this is loose. See how loose these bars are? See how tight and orderly this is? Look at the wild swings here. Wild swings indicate high investor emotions. High investor emotions are not conducive to making good decisions and normally not conducive to making money. So just be aware of that. The next one, another energy ETF. And it's hanging in there. Energy, you can see the theme. Financials, higher low, but lagging. Nothing special there. Lower low, industrials, lower low. What does this say? Stay away from the industrial stocks. Technology, higher low, but it's not, is it? Also note, people say, oh, it's a green bar. See where it gapped up? Open near the highs and closed down, okay? Be careful with that. What is this saying? It hit a lower low. Be careful with technology stocks. Consumer staples. Check this out. What's this saying? Stay away. Stay away. Great investing maxim. I say this, I said it before. The air is better above the 50-day moving average line. Something to kind of remember. Utilities, hanging in, kind of a defensive play, possibly. You know, it's utilities. We don't get too wrapped up in utilities. Healthcare, defensive, higher low. Tough patterns though, folks. Tough patterns. Be careful. Consumer discretionary, lower low. What does that tell you? Discretionary. Things that you don't have to have. And what is it saying? It's telling us, hey, the consumer's tightening their belt, right? Be aware of that. That's power for us. Metals and mining, higher low, bouncing off the 200-day, maybe. Not the best pattern, though. Over and over, you see this. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. OG, oil and gas. Gosh, what is that? That's energy. Yes. Have we talked about energy before? More than a couple of times. That's how you build a case. It helps you. It helps us make better decisions. Retail. Look at this. What does that say? And what has it been saying? Be careful with retail. If you'd just been looking at this chart, you would have been saying, I'm not going to buy any retail stocks. And you would have avoided a ton of pain the past couple of weeks. I mean, huge pain inflicted on retail stocks. So stay away. Software, potential higher low here. You can see it starting to pick up a little bit, go across these tops, but the trend is down. So what do we do in a situation like this? You say, yeah, I see that. Okay, what can I do? You could buy the ETF if it triggers, but because the trend is still down, how could you control risk? Buy less shares. So let's look at the MAXLIST stocks. All right, here we go. There's Apple. Gapped up, fell, closed up just a hair. What's the trend? What's the trend? The trend is down. There's nothing here, okay? Be careful with that. So, well, this is the bottom. Higher low setup is a far better setup for indicating a bottom. Right here, don't have it. Continue onward. Amazon. Take a look at this. You see this bar right here? This bar is higher than this bar, right? This right there is higher than this. That is a higher low setup. And what did we do? This is when we were buying right in here, okay? And you know, you buy it under 3,000 and it goes up to 3,300. That's good money. All right, I'm buying close to 2,900 to tell you the truth. There you go. There we go. Now, what do we have here? We do have a higher low. What's the difference? On this, it was below the 50-day, but the 50-day was fairly close to it, correct? Look at it now. I'm going to do something that's education for all of you. This is what we were looking at for the higher low trigger, all right? And the next day, boom, 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 we're in it, okay? There you go. And you can see it was fairly close to the 50-day the day before. And here it is. Now, how is it in relation to the 50-day? It's a little bit off. It's a little bit below the 50-day here. A little bit? How about a lot? There you go. So what do we do with a situation like this? It is a higher low. If it takes out Friday's highs and the market's okay, and that's a big one, folks, that could be a potential buy. Would it be an aggressive buy? Yes, it would be. Yes. Do not think this is a clean and simple flat-based breakout. It is not. The trend is down. So, I mean, it's below all the moving average and they're all falling. So you can say, well, then what would you do? If you buy to control risk, buy less shares. Part of making money, a major part of making money is good risk control. BIDU. BIDU is just, it's chopping around. I mean, this low here this is a lower low. This low is, it's just, there's nothing great here. Leave it alone. Meta, okay, I still call it Facebook, has a higher low. Maybe it'll start to lift, but note this. You look at the chart. Is there a little bit of overhead supply on this? Oh yeah, oh yeah. So what do? Is if you buy it taking out Friday's highs, and there was a slight pickup in volume, but note this. This is stuff we talk about at Mission Winners. People say, oh, it's a green bar on heavier volume. That's a good bar. I'd like you to look at I'll make this bigger for you. This is great education. I'd like you to look at the open on this bar. I'd like you to look at the close on this bar. This stock closed below where it opened. It was actually met with some selling pressure. Okay, right? It opened, ran up, and closed below where it opened. So it was met with selling. Okay? Be cognizant of that. Be aware of that. It will help you make better decisions. So then you can say, okay, Pat, well then what would be the setup if I do this? If it takes out Friday's highs, you'll want to see it push through there on heavy volume, okay, a volume surge on lesser time frames. But what else would you like to see? A good market. And what else? If it runs up and starts to fall, don't let a good profit turn into a loss, and don't take this thing all the way down to the lows of the day. That's too big of a loss. Manage it. Manage it appropriately. Google, this came close to a lower low. There's no power here, folks. There's no power here at all. Leave it alone. Goldman Sachs, potential higher low, but the trend is down. Be careful with it. If it takes out Friday's highs, just be careful. Team, the market's sloppy. Please don't force stuff, okay? Please. MasterCard, higher low. Right here. Perhaps it'll lift. The trend has been down. Be cautious. Microsoft, higher low. Is it? No, it's not. See, it's a lower low. So there's nothing to do with this. Forget it. Move on. Nvidia, higher low. But no, it opened up and it closed down on a pickup in volume. Fairly aggressive pattern here. You see this? This is a higher low. I'm going to be really explicit here, okay? I've been using this pattern for years, okay? This low is higher than this low. In fact, I've been using this pattern for a good portion of this century, okay? Right here. How's this? Oh, Pat. Oh, this low is higher than this. Is a higher low pattern setup, Pat. Oh, gee whiz. You know you're right. You know by Jove, you're right. Gosh, I guess if it takes out the highs of this bar, that'd be a good buy. Oh, gee whiz, it did it. And it did it on a pickup in volume. When it took out the highs of that bar, we were buying. And then we bought more. Okay? Here's and in here. All right? And we're in it. We're in it. So you see you got an average cost of, I don't know, 229. How's that sound? 229, 230, whatever. That's close enough. Yeah, I guess that's okay. That's, we didn't sell at the top. But you know what? That's a 60-point, close to a 60-point run, folks, in less than 2 weeks. That's serious money. And we did it. But then you also have to have rules and tactics to sell. And we did. And that, here it is here. And aren't you glad we had the rules and tactics to buy and the rules and tactics to sell. Has a higher low here, maybe it'll work, but note this. How does this higher low look? I'm going deep on this for y'all, okay? See how orderly this higher low is? Okay, how's this one? You can say, boy, it fell, but the volume wasn't that heavy on that bar, Pat. Oh, it fell and the volume was fairly heavy. It's a riskier setup. Be aware of that, okay? Tesla. This is an electrifying move to the downside. I'm sorry I had to say it, but I knew you'd all get a charge out of it. Okay. Dad humor, this is when my kids shake their head. All right. Anyway, you can see this. There's nothing here. There's nothing here at all, okay? Also, I have to share this with you. I don't get political with what's going on with Elon Musk and Twitter and stuff like that. Just focus on the charts, folks, all right? And I'm not criticizing Elon Musk. I'm not criticizing none of it. Just focus on the charts. There's so much extraneous stuff. Just focus on these. By the way, is this a lower low? Yes. What was this? Oh, that low was higher than this low, Pat. Oh, gee whiz. Oh, look, it did okay here, and then it started to pick up. And into the close is where we bought some, and then we bought more the next day, right in here, a couple of times. Okay? All right, you see this right in here? So you say you got an average cost of, we'll say you got an average cost of 800, okay? Let's just say 800. 800 to 1100? I don't need a calculator to say that's 300 points. That was a higher low setup. We did it. It was on the key list. There it is. That's not bragging. It's explaining the setup so that you can apply it. That you can look at these things and say, I see what he's got going on here. Yeah, this is good stuff. Twitter. Just chopping around here. Okay? There's really nothing special with this. Just tell you that right now. And then finally we go on to Visa. And Visa has a higher low, but man, it's kind of loose here, so be cautious. Be cautious. Anyway, that is the major index ETFs, and that is the MAXLIST, giving us an idea of, is there any opportunity? If so, where is it? And how can we make money on it?
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.